Welcome everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. Today we are remembering Bones Hillman, best known as the bassist for Australian rockers Midnight Oil. Unfortunately, he passed away at the young age of 62 on November 8th of 2020 after battling cancer. He was born Wayne Stevens, but he was known, of course, by the stage name of Bones Hillman. And the interesting thing is, last name Hillman was actually selected based on the kind of car he drove at the time when he chose his name. Now, he was a New Zealand musician who played bass, also sang background vocals, and known for having a beautiful voice. His first band that he played in was the Masochists, followed by the Suburban Reptiles, which he joined in 1977. And then he joined the Swingers the same year. They would actually stay together until 1983 and were known for having Phil Judd and the lineup from the group The Split Enz, who were a very successful band. And in 1978, he also joined the Rednecks. So as you can see, he played in a lot of bands simultaneously. In 1980, he moved to Australia with the Swingers. And of course, fast forward a little bit to 1987, where he would join Midnight Oil as their bassist, replacing Peter Gifford, who had played with the band from 1980 all the way to 1987. And Peter played on Midnight Oil's most successful album, Diesel and Dust, of which Bones Hillman did not, but Bones Hillman did do the promotion and touring for it because he joined before the release of Diesel and Dust. And so most people were introduced to Bones through that album, the music videos, the live touring, things of that nature. It's certainly how I got to know who he was. And Diesel and Dust was their most successful album, so bringing him to the most wide recognition that he could gather with it at the time. The album itself featured Midnight Oil's biggest song, Beds Are Burning. The album itself reached number 21 on the US Billboard 200, and it would be certified platinum for sales of 1 million copies sold within the US. Now, the first album that Bones would play on would be the follow-up album, Blue Sky Mining, which came out 3 years later in 1990. This album itself was even more outspoken and defiant than previous albums by Midnight Oil, but that was just sort of par for the nature within the band. And this album itself charted one position higher at number 20 and would ultimately be certified gold within the US for sales of 500,000 copies. Now, by the 1990s, the band their position started to wane a bit within the US. However, back home in their homeland of Australia, they remained very successful, releasing 3 more albums in the 90s with Earth, Sun, and Moon. This one coming out in 1993 and is a personal favorite of mine. Breathe came out in 1996, another really good album, and then 1998's Redneck Wonderland, where they attempted to modernize their sound a bit, adding some drum beats and sound samples, things of that nature to it, which again was sort of par for the course at this time within the 90s. Now, all of these albums went gold or platinum within Australia, just showing you how successful they remained within their homeland. In 2000, though, they had the honor of playing the closing ceremonies of the Sydney Summer Olympics. But following the release of 2002's Capricornia, which would be their last album for 18 long years, lead singer Peter Garrett decided to leave the band to pursue a career within politics. The lyrics of Midnight Oil had always leaned on that direction of things, but at this point, lead singer Peter Garrett decided to actually pursue a path where he could do some good within the Australian Senate, where he was elected a seat. Now, this is sort of put the band on an indefinite hold at this point. During the downtime, though, Bones Hillman worked as a live and studio musician, and he worked on a number of recording projects for other artists, including Sheryl Crow. In 2009, though, while still on hiatus, the band did reunite for a show, but no plans were made for them to continue at that point. However, finally in 2016, the band did officially reunite and start a tour in 2017. And in 2018, they released a live album, Armistice Day. And now, finally, in 2020, in fact, just last week, they released their first new studio album in 18 long years, the Makarata Project. And this one here being their 12th studio album overall. And it actually features collaborations with Indigenous and First Nation peoples, which makes for a very interesting listen. I have a separate review for this on my channel if you're interested about it. I'll put the link in the bio below. This one features only 7 tracks on it, though. It is seen as a mini album, and it is supposed to whet people's appetite for their upcoming full-length release, which will be sometime in 2021. So there will be more material from Bones Hillman that we are going to get during that recording session for the Makarrata project. They did record 20 tracks, 7 of them coming out on the mini album here, but ultimately 13 being saved for that full-length record. So while unfortunately Bones Hillman did lose his life on November 8th of 2020 at the young age of 62, he will be remembered. He will not be forgotten, and I do want to thank him for the wonderful music that he left behind. Rest in peace, Bone Hillman. We certainly do, enjoy the music that you provide, and we'll remember you, and your legacy will live on. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please leave your comments, your thoughts, any memories you may have on Bones Hillman or Midnight Oil for that matter. Let me know what you're thinking. I hope everyone has a good day. Take care, and do go out and listen to some Midnight Oil and celebrate the life and legacy of Bones Hillman.